If you are going to be watching a long debate somewhere from home, we got presidential debates coming up.
Yeah, we do.
You definitely need some wine. So go get yourself some AllisonWinePromo.com. It's a great way to support my work and have some amazing wines. We're starting a wine club now. Tomorrow, I'm actually interviewing this guy in Argentina who's been the one sourcing all the extremist altitude wines. So between 6,000 and 9,000 feet there. But we're also expanding it to Spain, Italy, France. And we're all going to be getting 3 months of 6 amazing wines. And then the next 3 months, you'll get 6 more amazing wines. And every 3 months, you're going to get 6 new amazing wines. And you're going to hear from the people where they come from. These are like small family vineyards, handpicked grapes, just really great stuff that you honestly can't get anywhere else. And why would you want to? Because you can support my work and also have a great glass of wine. So don't forget your AllisonWinePromo.com. And you can give them away as gifts if you're not a drinker. It's a great way to say you're sorry to somebody who you said was racist or any other number of those things. And then James has convinced you that they actually had made valid points and you should just debate them instead of canceling them and unfriending them on Facebook. James Fishback is here. He is the founder of Incubate Debate. I titled today's live stream, Student Debate Under Attack. And James is here to tell us all about what's going on, which does not actually seem to be like a new problem, but perhaps it has accelerated in recent years. James, I want to show people how I first heard about you all. This is a video that Brianna Watley, I believe she's a high school student. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. She posted this on Twitter. Let's watch this.
What comes to mind when you think of a debate? You're probably seeing two people who don't agree with each other, are presenting arguments and making refutations, hopefully coming to a consensus. Well, the National Speech and Debate Association has recently identified a problem within their debates. On a topic about civil disobedience, apparently students were coming across other students who didn't share the same views as them. The reason I do debate is because I enjoy hearing different points of views. It helped me grow as a person. It's the reason why I'm able to hold stable conversations without getting upset whenever someone brings up a point of view I don't agree with. See, what the National Speech and Debate Association is doing, they're not only ruining high school debates, but they're setting up their students for failure. Because in the real world, whether it be in the workplace or at a family dinner, you're going to have conversations with people who don't agree with you. The world is not an echo chamber.
Okay, and she's now officially national champion.
Yeah.
Give us a little background then on what she's talking about here.
Absolutely. So in February, I published on X the minutes of the National Speech and Debate Association. They are the NCAA, if you will, of high school debate. They're the governing authority. They've been around for nearly 100 years. I was a proud member as a student and as a coach of the NSDA about 10, 15 years ago. And the NSDA canceled the national high school debate topic this year, Allison, because, quote, so we don't need to speculate, it's right in the minutes of their most recent board meeting, because, quote, the African American Coaches Caucus expressed concern that students were making and listening to arguments that were not in keeping with their social equity values in light of the 2020 BLM protests. They literally canceled the debate because students didn't want to take the other side of a debate. Not just take the other side, didn't want to listen to it. And so this is what high school debate has become. I blew the whistle, if I may say, last May in the Free Press, where I wrote that high school debate is really not a place where debate is allowed anymore. The judges will punish you and disqualify you if you make arguments that are not in keeping with their worldview. There are certain words you're not allowed to say. If you say the word illegal immigrant, you can be disqualified by some judges. They have rules that apply to certain races. If you're Black, you don't have to hand over your evidence to your opponent. But if you're white or Hispanic or any other race, you do. They tell students not to refer to each other as Mr. and Miss. So if I was in a debate with you, Allison, I couldn't call you Mrs. Morrow. You couldn't call me Mr. Fishback. And the reason why, of course, is because that reinforces that sex is binary. This is a high school debate league, one that changed my life, that has now been hijacked into a platform that is being used to propagandize young Americans. Unfortunately, high school debate as we know it is dead.
Okay, one of the things that caught my ear when you were talking about this is you kept saying that the students didn't want to. So is this all really just about rules, or is it the students themselves are just too scared and they're self-censoring, and so there's no debate because they just won't talk about certain issues and just won't go there?
Well, it's a bit of both. The students won't talk because the judges won't let them. When a judge says, as I pointed out in my Free Press article last May, when a judge says, quote, "I will listen to conservative arguments, but be careful," that forces kids to self-censor. That judge, Allison, has a lot of power. That judge is the difference between you making it from the preliminaries to the finals, the difference between you winning or losing the tournament and getting the college scholarships and acceptances that come with those impressive accolades. When a judge like Lila Lavender tells students in the Paradigm, their online profile essentially, that they will not evaluate arguments like Israel has a right to defend itself or American policing is good. What Lila is saying is that if you argue that Israel has a right to defend itself or the police are in fact a force for good in America, you automatically lose, no questions asked. And so it runs the gamut. But let's talk about what the outcome is. The outcome is no debate is really allowed in high school debate anymore. And that's why I launched Incubate Debate.
Mm-hmm. All right. When did you officially launch Incubate Debate?
2019.
Okay. So that was still President Trump's tenure. What do you think the impact of his presidency and the coverage of the media on his presidency had on high school debate? Because in my profession of TV news, which I quit at the end of 2019, it had a significant effect on the way that we covered pretty much everything, because it kind of it opened the door, for one reason or another. It opened the door for journalists to have a green light to become overt activists and to really go after people that they just felt like were, I guess, a danger to democracy or public safety or whatever. And it went from being a job where we were supposed to, I'm not saying we were always doing this or even mostly doing this, but at least we were supposed to be interested and curious about other ideas and try to understand them, versus just going out of the newsroom with the objective to like whack-a-mole these other ideas and just get rid of them. We hate this idea of platforming. We're apparently for censorship now in journalism, which is very weird. We like that the government restricts speech. Like, it's a very weird world. So, but that all really ramped up in 2016 during the election year and then in his presidency. So how do you think that had an effect, not just the presidency, I guess, itself, really, but just how the world responded to it, particularly the media? Because I feel like we drove a lot of the trends towards smashing debate and speech all over the place.
You're absolutely right. You have your finger right on really the culprit here, which is the response to the 2016 election of Donald Trump. I left high school debate as a student, graduated high school in 2013. I came back after college in 2017. So something happened, because when I left in 13, there was not even a hint of this. And then in 17, it was full-fledged. And so what happened was a man named Donald J. Trump was elected president in November of 2016. And like we saw the day after his inauguration with the protest, he hadn't even been in office for 24 hours, that had not enacted any policies. And of course, there was a massive protesting his presidency essentially as an attack on democracy. And so it's that same apoplectic response that we saw in Washington, not just the day after, but really the 4 years after, from the Russia hoax to a number of other media conspiracies about the man, that led to what I believe, and I'm speaking in my personal capacity here, what I believe created the conditions to shut down debate. Look, what happens in high school debate is a fascinating microcosm for America. But I think the reason why the story matters is because it reflects exactly what you point out, is that in the media, debate is not allowed. It's one viewpoint. On college campuses, it's one viewpoint. In the HR, DEI session, it's one viewpoint. And so what's really shocking, yet at the same time unsurprising, is that in high school debate, much like in corporate America, in law school, on college campuses, and in the media, and increasingly in social media, debate is not allowed. And so there's a grand irony there that this would happen here, but it is in keeping with this national decline of being able and being willing to listen to opposing viewpoints. Allison, I'm an unapologetic conservative, but what gets me excited and engaged is listening to the other side and thinking, hold on, do I actually have this right? Being exposed to different viewpoints, oftentimes the ones that I vehemently disagree with. That's what high school debate used to be about. When Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court justice, won the National Speech and Debate Association's national tournament in 1982, I suspect that's what he gained out of this as well. When Oprah Winfrey, when Ketanji Brown Jackson, when Ted Cruz, when a number of incredible people on both sides participated in this idea of competitive debate, they learned and they leaned into opposing viewpoints. For young Americans, they can't do that today in the traditional world of high school debate.
Okay, James, I have a bunch more questions for you. Real fast, let me just tell everybody about my new sponsor. If you've ever been interested in doing a liver detox, go check out getliver.com, getliverhelp.com/Allison. These are all botanicals that are focused on detoxing your liver, really for people who might be eating too many carbs, too much sugar, you're exposed to toxins. If you've ever been interested in doing something like this, it's a great product, and it's also a good way to support my work. Here's the ingredient list. I'll look at it right now. You got like turmeric, beetroot, dandelion, milk thistle, artichoke, ginger root, alfalfa leaf. Funny, my son likes to take the alfalfa cubes away from the horses and eat them. And when I saw that it was on this ingredient list, I told my husband we should just let him eat them because apparently alfalfa is really good for detoxing your liver. Getliverhelp.com/Allison. Let me know what you think. And thanks again for those people who are supporting my work and my sponsors. You can also send me real mail at P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida, 34432. I love getting mail from people. Let's see. I got an Easter letter from Chip and Sherry. Thank you, Chip and Sherry. Hi, Allison, wishing you and yours a very happy Easter. We appreciate you. And the card says, Easter's here. Get excited. Anyway, thanks, Chip and Sherry. So send me some mail. I love getting the mail. It's been really nice. If you don't like credit cards and whatnot, you don't want the feds tracking you, it's also a great way to support my work through the mail. Okay, let's go over to locals because that is another place where people put in some questions for you as well. And it's a great way to support my work as well. AllisonMorrow.locals.com. Kind of brought up one of the questions that you've already sort of, well, let's skip the AI question for us. I wanted to go to the one that, here we go, Empress 9. I was on my high school debate team, and the most important part for me was having to defend both sides. Well, and having to debate my father about anything. Who is making these silly, soft decisions, and how do we intercede? They are interfering in some of the most educational moments these students might experience. And yeah, I mean, who's behind it all? I guess, like, where's the pressure really coming from if you had to make a guess? Because it's very hard to know sometimes with the media. People have all kinds of conspiracy theories and whatnot about it that are not necessarily true. You know, some, I guess, I mean, I don't use the word conspiracy theory necessarily negatively, you know, because sometimes they end up being right. But, you know, a lot of it kind of comes down to just like group herd mentality. Who's pressuring and changing debate?
Well, it's a small group of people at the head of the National Speech and Debate Association. People like Amy Seidelman, who told Fox News after I released the minutes of that meeting where they canceled the national debate topic, because again, to Empress 9's point, they didn't want to hear both sides. She said that we canceled it because it was personally damaging for some students. Look, the sticks and stones may break my bones, but open debate never hurt me. At the end of the day, as Americans, what made this country great was free speech and open debate. And rejecting that today is part of the reason why we find ourselves in such a difficult situation. It's also people at the NSDA like Adam Jacoby, who is a board member, who says on his online website that what he wants to bring to the NSDA is social justice and equity. This is a debate organization, for heaven's sakes. This is not the college Democrats, and this is not Students for Justice in Palestine. Those groups exist. If you want to bring that agenda, you certainly can and do that in this group, in those groups. But what high school debate, first and foremost, is a platform, institutionally neutral, viewpoint diverse, and nonpartisan, that brings together young Americans like Empress 9, who did this in high school, like I did, like Neil Gorsuch did, and have debates on both sides of an issue. And what I would say is that, look, we're different from the NSDA in a number of reasons. Look, we actually believe in objective judging, unlike judges who say, if you use the word illegal immigrant, you're disqualified. We believe in free expression. Students can make a range of arguments and can do well. We believe in viewpoint diversity, which is why, Allison, we most recently had Vivek Ramaswamy and Bill de Blasio, interesting bedfellows. Those two folks came out to Incubate Debate to help coach our kids, like Brianna Watley, our national champion, in preparation for our big tournament earlier this month. The biggest thing, though, where we disagree with the NSDA most, is that we believe that high school debate is not merely a competition. It's not about showing up on Saturday and having a debate for the fun of it. It actually has to be a platform for students to discover truth. Not your truth or my truth, not his or her truth, not the lived experience truth, but the truth, the one and only, singular. That's what debate is about as an educational tool. The NSDA has rejected that. Incubate Debate is embracing that for kids. And that's why we're growing as fast as we are. We went from 1,500 kids this time last year to over 5,000. We're in 4 states now. We'll be in 6 states in 3 months. And Allison, as I tell our kids all the time, we're making debate great again.